least that's from the lagoons. And now, without further ado, how did the land around Arches form? So Utah is a pretty rich state full of, as far as national parks go. Say that in Alaska have a lot of national parks. And so how some of them formed are, Zion was formed by sediment collecting in a huge basin, and it hardened into sedimentary rock. Then the Colorado Plateau rose, and that affected a lot of these national parks. Anyway, so when the Colorado Plateau rose, all the streams that were previously going in the basin and then not moving, so hence not really eroding that strong, then had the gravity of the Colorado Plateau behind them, and that cut Zion, the streams. And in Canyonlands, what happened, I like Canyonlands because it just happened on its own. Magma seeped out of the Earth's crust and formed into these pretty cool, funky rock formations, and then sediment got in between them, and it was flat. But then the sediment washed away because it's sediment, and just the igneous rock was exposed, forming Canyonlands. You see there. And Bryce Canyon is kind of cool because the area around Bryce, the temperature rises really high in the daytime and lowers really low in the night. And so what happened is water would come into little crevices and stuff in between this big flat rock, and then the temperature would drop and the water would freeze. And we know when water freezes, it expands. And so when the water or ice expanded, that forced apart these crevices, and it happened a lot until Bryce Canyon looked like that. And my second question here is, how do the animals that inhabit Arches adapt to its climate? And you think they don't, they just find a better place to live. And that seems like the more logical explanation, but there are still animals in Arches, and this is how they survive. The morphological adaptations are the physical features of a animal that sort of like help it with the climate and stuff. The jackrabbit has very long ears, and what those do is the body heat from the jackrabbit collects in its ears, and the ears disperse its body heat away from the jackrabbit, so it is not as hot. The collared lizard has very long legs and toes, and that keeps it off the ground, which keeps the hot sand and rock from touching its body. And the white-tailed antelope ground squirrel, it has a very large bushy tail that it puts above itself, and that tail acts as a shade umbrella. It keeps the sun off of it. The behavioral adaptations, how the animal behaves, include just staying in its burrows, or just being crepuscular, and nocturnal. And crepuscular is just being active during the evening or dusk, and it might just stay in bushes or under rocks and go out occasionally to get some water, which brings us to how do they get water. And strewn across Arches are these little potholes that get filled with water and create a little mini ecosystem, and that's where most of these animals get a lot of their water from. And the kangaroo rat has these seeds in its burrow, and the seeds collect moisture and then distribute it throughout the burrow, so that keeps its burrow all moist and cool. And some physiological adaptations, which is what happens inside of the animal. The kangaroo rat here has these cool nasal passages that retain moisture that it would usually lose when it breathe. And so with breath, when you exhale, you usually are exhaling a bit of moisture, but the kangaroo rat's nasal passages absorb most of that, and it does not lose any moisture through breathing. And it also, its kidneys just can hold a lot of water, and it uses them. And that, if I scroll down here, is all I have for you. Thank you for your time, and that's it.